In this video, we're going to talk about how we are going to start designing our own adventure games. And we're going to start by coming up with what we would call a game pitch. And this is sort of the high-level overview of your game. So it's going to be kind of the genre and an overview of the plot and the goals of the game. No more than just a few sentences. This is what is called a game pitch. Every company that develops games has some sort of process like this. This is how people come up with game ideas. You have a big meeting and everybody pitches their idea, and the good ideas are chosen to be implemented and turned into actual games. What we're going to do here is come up with kind of something we call an elevator speech. Now, you may not have heard that term before. You probably haven't. Now, imagine you've got some good idea. You're working at a company and you've got a good idea and you think that the company should do this. Now, imagine you get in an elevator and your boss gets in the elevator too, and you're both going up, and you have maybe 20 seconds in that elevator ride where you can convey or sell or pitch your idea to your boss and have them think about it and possibly go with it. So what you're trying to do is come up with a short description of your game that's going to sound good to somebody who might have the funds or the ability to turn that game into reality. So that's what an elevator pitch is. It's a very short speech designed to effectively convey what you want to do and why you think we should do it. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to come up with kind of the elevator speech or the pitch for our game. So let's talk about, there we go. Let's talk about the first thing we need to do, and that's pick a genre. Like, what kind of game is this going to be? A space game, like a swords and sorcery, Lord of the Rings game, like an espionage spy thriller, or is it going to be set in real life? All of those are good. Fantasy games and space games are kind of cool because you're not limited by the laws of physics and the laws of nature. You can have magic and advanced technology that does stuff that we don't have, and that can make the puzzles a lot more interesting. So now that we've got our genre, what do we have to do next? Well, we've got to pick kind of the plot of the game. Now, there's been a lot of research done on plots, and it turns out there's really not that many of them. Almost all movies, books, games ever written have just a handful of plots. Now, in a particular movie or a game, one plot, it may start off as one sort of plot, but then it'll morph into another sort of plot. So imagine Star Wars, right? You have to infiltrate you have to escape from the Death Star. So there's the escape plot. But then you have to go back and destroy the Death Star. So that's the destroy the dangerous thing plot. So, or imagine an Indiana Jones movie, right? There's a treasure hunt kind of plot, but then you get captured and then you have to escape. So there's really only a handful of plots that ever pop up in books, games, or movies. And let's talk about them. So let's talk about plots here. So once we've got our genre, like it's going to be a 1920s adventurer thing, or it's going to be a space pirate thing, or it's going to be a medieval adventurer thing. Let's talk about the different plots. Okay, so the most basic plot that we have is the treasure hunt. You could maybe consider this the quest plot, kind of one of the oldest plots in literature. So these games typically follow some sort of there was a sacred tablet that was broken into 3 pieces, and the 3 pieces were scattered in across the kingdom, and whoever finds those 3 pieces and puts them together will become the ruler of the land, right? So it's recover the 3 tablet fragments, or recover the 5 magic rings that have been stolen. Recover the king's crown and scepter and sword that have been stolen. Imagine, you live, your uncle, you had a rich uncle who had a mansion, but the mansion's been sold, and that he was a crazy guy who hid hid stuff around his mansion. You know that there's 10 treasures hidden somewhere in his mansion. Maybe he left you a letter saying, before the house is demolished, you have to get in there and find the 10 treasures. Don't have 10. 3 treasures, 5 treasures that I left for you to find. Maybe you have to find the will that your rich great uncle left you, and if you can find the will, then you inherit his fortune, right? So it's a quest plot, a find the hidden treasures plot. Very common. All right, let's look at other types of plots. Okay, escape plots, also very common in games. Your Titanic is sinking. You've got to get to the lifeboat. The act of getting to the lifeboat ends the game. You've won. Escape the castle. You've been held prisoner. You're being held prisoner in the dungeon of a castle, but the guards, I don't know. They drank too much at a party and now they're asleep. But they've passed out or something. Or there's now you can escape you have a chance to escape. You have to figure out how to escape the castle. Your plane has crashed in the jungle. Get to the mountaintop. If you get to the mountaintop, then you'll be spotted and you'll be rescued, or you have to escape from your crippled spaceship, and get to the escape pod or something like that. So, and I can see that's one word. Let's fix that. All right. So escape plots, very, very common. Now, if you think about it, a game, a game that's a single player game typically has many, many levels, and each level kind of might fall into one of these things. You're not going to have an entire game that's an escape plot, but this is, you might have one level that's an escape plot and one level where it's like, find the three documents, a treasure hunt kind of plot. So each level might have its own plot. So, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to have short little games. They're just one of these plots. So let's look at some more plots here. There's some variations on the get somewhere / escape plot. Maybe you have to get to the escape pod, but push a button to launch it. So the act of pushing the button is what wins the game. Maybe you have to get to a mountaintop or the top of a tower or the top of a building, and then fire a flare gun, and then be rescued. Maybe you have to escape with the stolen blueprints and get to the field where the helicopter is going to pick you up, but you have to use the radio to signal that the helicopter to come get you, right? So you have to escape and then do something. There's a final step that actually wins the game. So actually, let's look at this last one. Take the stolen blueprints, then get to the helicopter, then escape. So that's actually kind of steal something. That's like a combination of a treasure hunt and an escape. So you can see you can combine these things in different ways. Another common type of puzzle is destroy a dangerous thing. All right, so we have the nuclear reactor melting down. Someone has planted a bomb in the amusement park and we have to find it. There's a cursed amulet that's causing our villagers to go crazy and become murderous, and we have to throw that thing into the volcano, right? There's the Lord of the Rings right there, like the throw the ring into Mount Doom to destroy it. Right? Maybe the reactor the engine on our spaceship is overheating and we have to eject it, or something like that. You're on a submarine and there's a torpedo that's about to run away. Or that's about to activate, or a nuclear missile on your submarine, and you have to somehow shut it down. So destroy a dangerous thing. Frequently, these types of games have some sort of timing mechanism built into them. We can do that in our games. We can count, even though our games are turn-based, we can keep track of how many moves have gone by, and we can have things happen at specific times. So if something has not happened by turn 100, bad things can happen. So we can have timers in our games. What else have we got? Defeat a boss. We don't see a whole lot of these, but a lot of shooter games there's a boss character you have to kill. But maybe there's a dragon terrorizing your peaceful land, and you have to go kill it. How do you kill it? Well, you probably have to go find some armor, a sword, maybe a magic helmet or a bucket of water or something to throw on the dragon. I don't know. Or the ring of invisibility. You'd have to almost have a treasure hunt game And then once you have all the things you need, then you can kill the dragon. So assassinate an evil dictator, right? That's like sneak in somewhere, plant a bomb, and sneak out, right? So that in a way, that's a defeat a boss plot, but it's also really a kind of an escape plot as well, unless you want to turn the thing into a suicide mission. All right, so there we go. So those are some of the common plots, right? Destroy a dangerous thing, escape or get somewhere, the treasure hunt, and kind of have various permutations of those things. Now, once you have picked your genre and you have sort of thought about, okay, here's kind of how I want my game to be. Now what you need to do is take that and put it into sort of a concise set of sentences that is going to sell your game to, you know, a producer or somebody. In that case, that would be me or Trey, where we'll say, you know, that sounds like a good idea for a game. I would want to play that game. That sounds cool. All right, so and don't think of this as a high stakes assignment. So if your idea does not really work very well, we'll make it workable. This is not like, oh, that's a terrible design. You fail. No, it's not like that. What we're trying to do is have a rough draft of your idea, and then we'll kind of warp it or shape it into something that is workable. So don't worry about this as an assignment with points and a grade. What we're trying to do is we need an idea, and then we're going to steer that idea in the right direction. Okay, so let's look at our elevator pitch, right? Our elevator pitch, right, which is what we're making here. That's a combination of our backstory, our plot, and the goal of the game expressed in just a few sentences. Remember, you've got that elevator ride with the boss, right? You got 20 seconds. Hey, boss, I've got this great idea for a game. How about this? And then, boom, you hit them with your elevator pitch, and they say, hey, that's a great idea. Stop by my office at 3:30, right? Or you're fired. Have your desk cleaned out by 5. Hopefully not that. All right, so let's look at some of these, you know, what a pitch might look like here within the context of our adventure game unit. All right, so here's a sample game pitch. You're a young prince or princess in a medieval fantasy kingdom which has been fighting an ongoing war against an evil goblin army. Your aging king has been killed in battle and his crown has been stolen and hidden in the dark caverns where the goblins live. You must sneak into the caverns and recover the crown. If you do so, you'll become ruler of the land. Okay, cool. I'd like to see that on a box. So that was there. There it is. Like we've got our, you know, our setting, the sort of our backstory, what the player is going to do, and what they have, and how that game is going to end. Like I know, I can kind of picture what that game is going to be like, and it sounds kind of exciting too. So, so there's kind of the setting, what we have to do, and then what happens when we win. Right. So that's kind of what we're trying to convey here. Let's look at another example too. Okay, so here's another game pitch that might work. You're a secret agent working for British intelligence, like James Bond or something, or Jason Bourne, right? You've learned a hostile nation is developing a biological weapon. You must infiltrate a secret laboratory, steal a USB disk containing information about that weapon, and escape with it. So it's kind of like this is an escape. It's an escape plot combination treasure hunt. Right, there's one treasure you're trying to find, which is the USB disk, and then escape with it. There's your game pitch right there. Say, hey, cool. That sounds like fun. All right, so let's look at another one here. You're an adventurer in the 1920s exploring an ancient pyramid no one has ever been inside. You must recover 3 treasures and escape with them. Each treasure can only be recovered by solving a puzzle. So this is a treasure hunt. Obviously, treasure hunts get a little tricky to design on paper because they're not linear. You can find any treasure in any order. So we know that there's going to be some treasures to escape. We're going to find some treasures, and those treasures are going to be protected somehow. Maybe by snakes or pits or walls that crush us or something, right? There's going to be some puzzles that we have to solve there to get our treasure, to find those treasures and escape with them. So there's the setting, there's our goal, and there's there's our treasure hunt right there. This is a little thin on like what does the player actually have to do to solve those puzzles, but that's going to come later. Okay, let's look at another pitch here that I came up with. You're a space smuggler who's been captured by the evil Galactic Empire. Wow, this sounds a whole lot like Star Wars. And are being held in a cell aboard one of their ships. A reactor malfunction causes your cell door to open and kills your guard. You must figure out how to get to your ship and escape, right? So there's your escape plot, right? You know, you're being held prisoner on a star freighter or on a starliner when all of a sudden the ship is racked by a massive explosion, killing your guard and causing your cell door to open. And maybe the guard drops his laser pistol and you can grab that, and that's and now you're off. Now you have to figure out how to escape, how to get back to your ship, right? Maybe you have to disable the garbage smasher and shoot the hatch and go down the slide, right? But that comes later. Like the actual details of the game come later. Here we're just coming up with the pitch. So to me, that sounds cool. If I saw that on the back of a box, yeah, hey, that sounds fun. I'll spend some time playing that. Okay, here's a destroy the dangerous thing type of plot. You are worker. Yes, there we go. You are worker. You are glorious worker at a nuclear plant in a fictional Eastern European country. Let's fix this. A fire has broken out and the reactor has started to overheat. You must figure out how to put out the fire and cool the reactor before it melts down. If you fail, there will be a nuclear catastrophe. That sounds exciting. Cool. So I kind of know where I am, what I have to do, and maybe what happens if I fail to complete this mission. And obviously it's kind of assumed here that if I do complete it successfully, then I'm a big hero and I never have to work again in my life, and I can enjoy the rest of my life in this socialist workers' paradise. So that's what we're going for here. We're going to try to pick a genre, figure out something that you're going to do within that genre that involves escaping, treasure hunting, escaping with treasures, something like that. And then the next layer, we're going to put the puzzle structure on top of that. And so right now we're just trying to come up with like a catchy idea for a game that's going to kind of grab somebody's attention and say, yeah, you know, and if you're trying to tell somebody in that 20-second elevator ride about the game you're working on, hey, that sounds like a cool game. I'd like to play that. That's what we're going for here. Just a few sentences describing the setting for this game, the general gist of the game, and the goals. And then later, the next step is we're going to sort of figure out, okay, now how does the player go about doing all of the stuff that we mentioned in this pitch document? We're going to kind of elaborate on that and set up our puzzle structures. So there we go. So that's what you need to do to write your game pitch. If you're struggling with this, ask for help. We're here to help you. We want you to have a good game pitch because that's going to make your game better down the road. We're trying to do this all in steps. So again, if you're frustrated, confused, don't know what to do, ask us for help. We're here to help you. We want this to be fun. So thank you.